What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to Mana Rant episode 16, the Historic Podcast. We specialize in everything historic with a little splash of Commander as well. We are the Mana Dorks. My name is Michael Apollo, and as always, I am joined by Hoshi.
Yo, what's up, guys?
And Drunken Dork.
What's up, everybody?
So the way that our show works is through the actual phases of Magic. So we have our Untap, Upkeep, Draw, Main Phase 1, Combat, Main Phase 2, End Step, Cleanup, and Discard. And when it's passed to your turn, just like in every game of Magic, you always start with your Untap phase. And that's where we untap a beer or drink of our choosing. So let's untap her up.
Yeah. Let's do this, boys.
Yeah. Looking forward to this.
So this week, it's just kind of odd. The can's like upside down. It was like purposely made that way.
Ooh.
So I'm drinking from Stone Delicious IPA, and it is in the name. It's delicious. I love it. It's a really good hoppy, citrusy IPA, and of course I'm pouring it into my actual Stone glass. So a little flavor text there.
Okay.
So, Drunken, what are you drinking this week?
So, coming from the same region as Stone, I got me a peanut butter stout from Belgian Beaver. This is like probably one of my two favorite beers. I fucking love this shit. It's like candy. The other night, like last week, I got a 6-pack. And I fucking opened one, and next thing I knew, I drank all six. I was like, I would like be drinking one and be like, and there would be nothing left. I'd be like, what happened? Like, where did this go? It's just so good. Like, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, I went to the brewery in San Diego, and I had a beer float with that.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds great.
It was pretty good. Yeah, so for me, I am drinking Lindenhaus Framboise. It's a raspberry limbic.
God,
beer,
you butchered the shit out of everything.
Yeah, I did.
You are American
I
as
think it's
shit, dude.
Lambic, but
I'm actually German too, and I just
Framboise, and it's a lambic.
Framboise.
Yeah,
it's a limbic. You know, fucking limbic.
Nice. You tried though. You tried, or you didn't actually.
You know, I did. That's the sad part about it is I did. But yeah, it's like a fruity kind of soury beer. So yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
All right, and we have a really, really good episode again this week. So after our Untap, we go into our Upkeep, and that's where we just briefly talk about some news in the MTG community. But real quick, we got some comments about people asking if we should stream. That is something that we can totally do. We're definitely not professionals in it, but it would be all three of us streaming. But if you guys have any ideas, any suggestions, let us know in the comments below. And if you are tuning in on wherever you get your podcast, please send us an email at drunkenmanadorks@gmail.com. That's DRUNKEN, manadorks@gmail.com. So, moving forward, we do have some news. The state of the game, as they say. Kaladesh Remastered is now out. It is officially all over historic. It is really awesome. We're definitely going to touch into some stuff, but just something I wanted to touch on that we talked about last time. We were talking about how in Amonkhet Remastered, there were some cards that weren't part of the block that were added in. In Kaladesh, it is Sculpting Steel, and we were hoping that they would add in more. They didn't. Right now, it is just... Yeah, it is just Sculpting Steel. So that is the news for that. Something else that I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have saw, within the store, you can get like all the basics just as a bundle now for free. Did you guys see that?
No. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And for those tuning in, if you guys didn't know, and if you two didn't know, you can try Kaladesh into the store promo, and you'll get a free Kaladesh Remastered booster pack. So
one whole pack, man. Wow, Wizards, you're so fucking generous.
Yeah, so let's hope you get that bulk rare you've always wanted.
Yeah.
Moving on into some other news, Herald of the Fair is usually like a seasonal event they always do with a new set. It's going to be in the forms of sealed, traditional draft, premier draft, and the draft challenge, and that's going to carry us all the way up into December 1st. Sealed is going to be November 12th to the 19th. Traditional draft also to the 12th and 19th. Premier draft is ending on the 18th, a day earlier, and then the draft challenge is the 28th to the 1st. If draft is yo kind of thing. But something I think all of us here can appreciate. Historic Brawl Fest is coming back.
Ooh, yeah.
And I am super stoked for this. We get 2 events, one in November, and I think the next one's in January, unless I'm not seeing something correctly here. But for those that don't know, Historic Brawl is a singleton commander-like format with all the cards that are legal in Historic. It's something that all 3 of us play extensively. So I'm going to turn it over to Drunken Dork. How do you feel about Historic Brawl Fest, Historic Brawl as a whole? You know, what's up in your life?
I'm always excited to see Historic Brawl. I fucking love that format. It's super fun to play. Not excited seeing the price tag. Like, it should just be a free fucking thing, like Brawl, right? Like, I don't get it. 2,500 gold, like, that's 2.5 packs right there. Like, I know I'm going to be playing, like, multiple games. I think the thing about it, though, is once you enter and you get to the end, I don't think you just like win or it ends. I think you can just keep playing. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping it's like the jumpstart thing.
Yeah, so you keep playing, but once you get your 3 wins, your rewards or whatever, that's it. You don't get any rewards, but you can keep playing in the queue.
Then in that case, it's not that bad, but I still think it should just be free. I really do. Like, I don't get it.
Hoshi, what do you think about Historic Brawl Fest?
Yeah, I mean, we've been begging for Historic Brawl forever. I mean, since they were just introducing Brawl, we were like, why not Historic Brawl, which they were calling Friendly Brawl for some reason. And, I mean, we play it all the time whenever we play each other. That's, like, one of our go-to things is we play a Historic Brawl against each other. It's the closest thing that we have to Commander, really, in the game. And we like Historic. We like using all of our cards. You get the best games out of playing Historic Brawl. So at least they're actually doing something with it. I don't know. It seems like they've been shying away from it for so long for some reason. Maybe because there wasn't a demand for it. I don't know. I don't know why. It felt like they were actively trying to not do anything with it. They were doing all these other weird events, but not Historic Brawl. So I'm glad to at least see that they're doing something about it. I wish it was just a normal queue, though, like Drunken Dork was saying, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it play.
Yeah, no, it seems to be a misstep, as you can say, on Wizards' part, because they assumed that everyone just loves Brawl, or maybe just people didn't know about Historic Brawl, but it actually is one of the most played formats on Arena, or the most popular when we're allowed to play it. Obviously, the only other way you can play is like through friends, and then you can set your rules on chat or whatever. But yeah, it seems like Wizards has stated they have made incorrect assumptions about Brawl in the past, and that they're ultimately just trying to be very careful about how they approach Historic Brawl. I guess like the big thing they're trying to avoid is everyone being too spread apart and making the queue times really long, no matter what format you're playing. I mean, I don't see that. I think that's ridiculous.
I will say this, playing Brawl recently, the queue times on regular Brawl are they're actually pretty long. They're like, I was waiting up to, I think, like 40 seconds, which isn't really, when you think about it, a lot of time, but like that is in comparison, right? A lot of time.
That's because normal Brawl is terrible.
That is exactly right. Yep.
You played 3 different decks, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, I'm really stoked for Historic Brawl. I really hope they just make it a permanent format, so that way everyone can enjoy it. And then for those who are tuning in, listening in, if you have not tried it, try it. It's really cool, and it's actually could be pretty wild card efficient, because you only need 1 copy of the card, and then you get to use a lot of like draft cards or cards that might not be a 4 of in a 60 card constructed deck. So you can make some like really cool strategies based on whatever your commander is. So if you have like a a commander that cares about +1/+1 counters, you can put in all the cards with +1/+1 counters and, really kind of fill out the deck and make it very unique and your own. So if that's something that you guys would like to see gameplay-wise, let us know in the comments below, and we can also maybe even stream that against each other or figure that out. Other than that, that's pretty much it. The only other thing that we've stated in a previous episode is that Arena Mobile is definitely on the hold until early 2021. For the reasons for that, I have no idea. I mean, maybe they just can't get their shit together. But other than that, January is Kaldheim. I'm sorry, you got something to say, Hosh?
Oh, I was gonna say there was one more thing, which was with this last update with the Kaladesh, they got rid of that 8-second delay after the match was over. If that was driving any of you nuts like it was driving me absolutely bonkers, they apparently fixed it. So I was like smashing my mouse, like, why isn't it letting me go to the next game? So
yeah,
they fixed that, so my rage can subside a little bit.
Aside from like patch updates, like making the game more smoother and obviously more efficient, they should definitely touch up on. And then January, Kaldheim, the like Viking Norwegian kind of Scandinavian land. That's going to be really fun, really cool.
Yeah.
That's it for the news. So after our upkeep is our draw step, and that's just really quickly what Magic formats we have been playing this week. Kaladesh is out, so obviously something we're all excited to talk about, and something that hopefully you guys would like to hear. So I'm going to turn it over to Hoshi. What have you been playing this week?
So I've been playing just historic. I haven't been really making too many new decks, just because I was waiting for Kaladesh to come out, so I didn't want to like start burning wild cards or try anything too crazy. I was kind of thinking ahead. And then today I was working all day. Unfortunately, they didn't do the update till I went to work, so I barely got to play Kaladesh. I made a Aristocrats type deck with using the Aetherworks or the Marvel. Aetherworks Marvel, that one. So doing the cat oven thing, trying to like sack stuff so it puts counters on the Aetherwork Marvel. And I just haven't been able to pull it off. I've only played a few games with it, but I mean, I was just killing people with the Aristocrat strategy. So, I mean, that deck's pretty good. So there's a lot of styles out there that can't deal with Aristocrats. So, yeah, that's it.
Nice. Drunken Dork, what about you?
So this past week, like I was just saying, I was playing some Brawl, like some basic Brawl, and it's not that great. I was playing a few games, like Drunken Me after 6 fucking peanut butter stouts. I was like, I'm gonna try Brawl, and then like fucking crafted a bunch of stupid ass cards, and like there those go. And anyway, doing that, and then
Nice.
then I was also playing a lot of Historic this week, a lot. So I found like I net decked Dimir Rogues in Historic, and I fucking love it. It's so good. It's so good. It's not good, but it's pretty good.
It's not
the best, but it is good. Like, it's better than the rogues that I built, in that fact that it can beat goblins a little bit better because it has like more counter spells in it. So I've been doing that, and then today with Kaladesh Remastered released, I have been building decks all day and playing them. I have spent, I think, like 30 rare wildcards today, like a fuck ton. Yeah, I use like almost all of my rare wildcards. I built like a sack deck, like Hoshi was saying, with Aetherworks Marvel. Then I just took Aetherworks Marvel out because I was like, wait, like I this deck is working better without the Aetherworks Marvel than it is working with it. It's like getting in the way of like what I'm trying to do, which I think I just built the deck wrong. I don't think that the strategy is wrong, like what you were saying. I just didn't build it right. And then I have built a Boros Artifacts aggro deck, which I fucking love. I've been killing it with that deck.
Nice.
And a blue Aetherworks Marvel, mono blue Aetherworks Marvel, and I have also been doing really good with that deck. It has been a lot of fun. And I don't even know. I made probably like 6 decks today. I was playing for too many hours. My wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing in there?" It's like, well, she would have been happier hearing me say I was masturbating than playing Magic the Gathering for like 4 hours straight.
Oh,
For 4
nice.
hours. Jesus.
As for myself, I've just been doing the rank up challenge and best of 3. Was sticking with my Gruul aggro for quite a bit. Now that I'm healthily in platinum, and today I've been brewing decks as well. I definitely don't have a million wild card rares like you, but I was able to build a couple cool decks. I was able to make Teamer Marvel and a Golgari counters deck, which I'm pretty excited for. Teamer Marvel is just, I don't know if it's going to be competitive, but man, is it disgusting. Like, turn 4 Ulamog is just gross, man. It just feels so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if energy is going to be a thing, but I guess we'll see. I mean, obviously, like, the meta's got to stabilize. But something else that I liked a lot was Golgari counters. Once again, there's different variations of it. There's like an Abzan one, which uses the energy to get the counters, which I thought was pretty interesting. This one doesn't use energy at all, but it uses the Winding Constrictor, which is that new snake. So that's been working out really good for me. And then, stuff like Oran Revu's and then Grakmaw, Skycleave Ravager, Verdura's Gearhulk. Really, really powerful stuff. I like counters. But another deck I would like to make, and I thought maybe you would like, Hoshi, was Mardu Vehicles. I know you're more of like a Boros kind of guy, and this is just
like
strictly
Mardu.
like vehicles, man. Like, it's pretty cool. Uses black for like
Nice.
disruption.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's
Sounds fun.
pretty much what I've been doing. And yeah, that's our draw phase. So after our draw is our main topic, our main phase. So this is going to be an interesting one. Something that we've kind of noticed here is that mana bases keep getting just more refined, better and better and better. When you compare to other formats, like other Eternal formats like Legacy, Vintage, and Modern, the mana bases are pretty much solved. Everyone's usually using the same types of lands, whether they be like fast lands, fetch lands, shock lands, whatever, the old school alpha duels. But Historic is a very unique kind of beast, and something we've noticed is that now that Khans would be logically the next remastered set, well, enemy fetches are in there. Are they going to bring out enemy fetches? They are banned in Pioneer. Wizards has stated, like, openly how much they just don't like fetches because of how much they slow the game down in paper. But Historic is the only Eternal format that is strictly digital. I mean, you could play it in paper, but, I mean, right now that's just the way to play. So what do you guys think about fetch lands as a whole? Should they add them in? I mean, do you guys have like any kind of apprehensions about it? I'll turn it over to you, Hoshi. What do you think?
I'm kind of conflicted about the fetch lands because even though they said that there's also cheating that was going on with the amount of fetches too. That was another thing where people were doing like weird things where they would weave people's cards, or they would make sure that they weaved a land on top of people's decks when they were doing the shuffling for them and stuff. So there was cheating going on with shuffling too, so they didn't like that. And
Yeah,
obviously, Arena doesn't have that problem, right? Where you can't, like, the other person's not cutting your deck or doing anything like that. But it still does slow the game down. Not only does do fetches slow the game down, but like they hold priority open too. So it takes I mean, obviously it's not going to take as long as somebody, but when someone's sitting there with like their Fabled Passage on the board and they're just like, okay, it's your go, dude. Yeah, click. Yeah, you got priority because of the Fabled Passage. Yeah, come on. You're doing a good job concealing your colors, dude. I already know what you're playing, like, just let's go. Yes, you are super try hard. Come on. So like adding more of that into the game, I don't like. I don't like fetches really just for that reason, because they do slow the game down and they just annoy me a little bit. Are the enemy fetch lands great? Yeah, they're awesome, right? You can pull out great cards. It fixes a lot of the mana bases. So I don't know. I'm conflicted. I don't like that they take longer, But I mean, sure, they'd be great to have. I mean, it's more rare lands, which is more rares to get, harder for people to get. So it's more money that people would have to spend on lands too. So that part I also don't like. But I mean, because you would have to get them, right? If they were in there, those would almost be a must-have, or they would definitely be a must-have.
Yeah.
Right, in historic. So I don't like that either. So yeah, I think I'm conflicted.
Interesting. What about you, Drunken?
So I'm gonna do a quick correction for you. So actually, Cons is not the next one. It's going to be Shadows over Innistrad.
Innistrad.
Yeah. So that will be the
Nice.
next one, and like Oath of the Gatewatch, then it'll be Cons. But yeah. So I think that yes, fetch lands do slow it down a little bit. More often than not, it's just the pieces of shit on the other end of the game that are slowing it down,
Yes.
because it really doesn't
Yes,
take
it
that
is.
long to fetch out a land. You know, if
No,
they
it
like,
doesn't.
yeah, it really doesn't. So I think the addition of these would be amazing. Like, this is what makes like powerful Magic to me, and that's what I think historic should be. Like, it's already making its place in Arena as like, I'm not rich, but like the rich man's version of Arena. I mean, because like these sets weren't touched, you know, like they're not like you're playing your old cards. Now you're just buying more cards, right? And so like this is for people who want more complicated interactions, I think. And fetch lands help with that, right? Like they help with like bigger mana bases, like having 3-4 colors. So I think it's like, I really hope they add it in. I know why they didn't do it in, actually I don't know why, but I read that they didn't do it in Pioneer because it took too long and it was too powerful. But this isn't Pioneer. This is historic. This is its own format. It has historic anthologies. Yeah, bring in the fucking fetch lands, please.
Also,
So-
they're just going to be they're also just going to be a wild card. They're not going to be like $20 a piece like they are on paper
Exactly,
or whatever,
right.
you know. So that's the nice thing about it too.
So thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, with Cons, they do have the enemy fetches, and I just checked right now. Well, what were the land cycle that was in Shadows of the Innistrad block? And they are actually the friendly allied, the allied show lands. So that's the ones where if you were to show a plains or an island, the Azorius dual land will come in untapped. So with that being stated, I was going to say I think fetches might be, they're definitely auto includes, but I think if going forward, what Wizards needs to do for historic is actually have a well balance. So now that we know that Shadows will have the allied duels and Cons will have the enemy fetches, I think that's a good balance, right? Like, as long as like whatever color pie you're trying to do, if you have access to good mana, I think that's just like essentially better, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if every deck wants fetches. I mean, like aggro doesn't, like monocolor doesn't.
That's not true. I mean, I think aggro could want some fetches. It does thin your deck out. I guess statistically, it doesn't really help that much. But even if it helps like 0.5%, you know, like I think helping is, you know, it's not. If it's helping, it's not. I don't know where I'm going with that.
I think it does,
I think
yeah.
what I think the point I'm trying to make is, what I'm hoping to see is not what is already established in Vintage, Legacy, and Modern, where it's just the same usual suspects. I would like it if mana bases become so fine-tuned in the sense that maybe you only have 2 fetches and you have 1 buddy land or 1 fast land, 4 shocks. You know, not like the 4 shocks, the 4 buddies, the 4 fast lands. You know what I mean? Like, if the mana base was more diverse, given the situation, like I know Control would definitely appreciate that. Control would like a couple temples, maybe 4 fetches, 4 shocks for whatever like dual color they're most prominent in. I really just don't want historic to be. It's already like a turn 4/5 format, and I don't want it to go into modern or legacy where it's a turn 2 to 4 format. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying fetches would make that happen, but I just hope going forward, they see that, if that makes sense. So what do you think? What do you guys think then about like the Shadows of the Innistrad then with the show lands? Do you think those are fine for historic? I mean, they're obviously nowhere near as powerful as fetches.
Yeah, yeah, those are fine. Yeah, I don't see a problem with those at all because they have some weird gimmick to them. I mean, even the Shocklands, the enemy fetches, they still have that downside of where you're paying 1 mana, which is it should be 2. You know,
Life,
it should
you
be
mean?
2.
Or 1 life, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying 1 life for those, which is what makes them so good. Is it's not 2 like the Shocklands. But you can grab a Shockland with it too, and then just punch yourself for 3 in the face, I guess, if you want with it. But and the show lands are just like, hey, I show a card, it comes in untapped. It's it's fine. It's not really.
It gives information to your opponent. It's pretty balanced.
Yeah, I think so.
Any thoughts, Drunken?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I think the show lands are garbage. In comparison to what the mana base is in historic, I think they just won't even be present.
I agree.
Interesting. All right. Any final thoughts you guys have on fetches as a whole affecting the historic meta?
I think it's not time for them right now. I don't think, like you were saying, it's not a turn 2, turn 3 format. If it ends up becoming that, then sure, screw it. Throw the fetches in there. If it becomes that powerful, then what's the drawback at that point, you know? But I don't think it's there yet, so leave them out.
This could have been a combat because, I'm completely in disagreement with you. Like, I think, bring them in. I think that this is a different format than Pioneer. And so, like, I think going forward, what they should do is add Pioneer, right? And, like, have the rules of Pioneer in there and have the rules of Historic and have the differences there. Like, maybe Historic is a more powerful version, right, than Pioneer, like, going forward. And so I do think they should add the fetches in for Historic specifically. Yes.
I would like to see him in. I agree with you in the sense, Drunken, that I think it's more powerful than Pioneer just because of the fact of other cards they've added in that aren't in Pioneer. And then obviously Pioneer has a different ban list. I think going forward too, like as a digital game, you know, paper, the more OG formats, the Eternal formats are like Legacy and Modern. And I think digital, it's fast approaching, or maybe it's just something I've been noticing. But I think like the Modern and Legacy of Arena is going to be, you know, Pioneer and Historic, which is something I'm super excited for. I hope those become like the thing. I really just don't care for Standard. I mean, I used to play it heavily, and then ever since I've gotten to Modern, I've like, why wouldn't I want more card pool? You know, like you just get so much more deck ideas that can come forth. So yeah, that's our main phase. And as Hoshi has stated, if you play a fetch land and you get a shock, the common term is to say that you've lightning bolted yourself. So I'm going to bolt myself for 3, and that's going to go into our combat. Actually, good segue there. This was the fetches would have been good combat too, but I think this one's going to be really good. Should they have premium one drop removals in Historic? So what's like a premium 1-drop if you guys don't know? Well, there's cards like Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshare, Lightning Bolt, for example. 1 mana red instant, deal 3 damage to target creature or player, and that's pretty insane. So should they be added into Historic? And we just want to mention really quickly that we got this initial idea from Aqua Dementia on a Reddit post, a post that he or she was talking about, and we just wanted to expand on it because we thought it would be like a good topic and a good idea for combat. So, opening statement, boys. Hoshi, I'm going to turn it over to you. What is your stance? And make your opening argument.
Yeah, so this was kind of my idea this week. It's called I was calling it Reddit Rant, just because, you know, people are like ranting about stuff on Reddit. And I thought it'd be funny to find like some ridiculous, person complaining about something. But honestly, when I was just surfing through the historic Reddit, so many good things that people were talking about, really good conversations, really good ideas people were bringing up, not a whole lot of like crying or like just like hands up in the air about stuff. It was really good stuff. So yeah, this is one that really caught my attention. This guy Aqua Dementia was talking about how he's playing Control, right, and he feels like aggro is super powerful in historic right now. It's very fast, stuff like goblins, right? And he's seeing that like in the colors that he's playing, which is more like Demir, I think, and he's not Demir, sorry,
Azorius.
No, Esper. Yeah. He's not getting the low drop removal, and he's dead before he can do anything. So we were talking about how this is a more powerful format, right? So I am in favor of Path to Exile being in the format because it has a downside to it. It gives the opponent a basic land, so you ramp them. Yeah, you get rid of a creature, but there's a pretty major downside to it. They get a basic land into play, and it's removal. We have Ulamog in the format right now. Ulamog is a huge, if he comes down, especially now, turn 4 Ulamog, right, is a thing. If what do you do against that, right? Unless you get to turn 5, you've hit your land drops perfectly, and you have Elspeth Conquers Death, that Ulamog ain't going nowhere, right? Maybe bounce spell, that's all I can think of, right? Other than that, it's game over, right? You're dead to Ulamog. So Path to Exile would be an easy fix to that. You would still lose 2 permanents, right? But you could at least exile Ulamog. So I don't know. I think with the power level that Historic is really going to, that it would be a pretty cool removal spell. Because Black has Fatal Push, which is a staple in Pioneer right now, right? That is like probably the most played removal card in there, and it's a 1-drop removal card that is in Historic now. They have Blood Chief's Thirst, which is another amazing low drop removal card. But those are both Black. Black has a lot of crazy removal right now, and seems like a lot of the other colors do not. Especially White. White's got a lot of terrible removal with like the enchantment removal, which if you blow up the enchantment, the thing comes right back. So it's like almost a double backfire if that thing has an ETB on it too,
Yeah.
So I think it would be a cool. Well, I don't think Swords to Plowshare should be in though, because the downside to Swords to Plowshare is the opponent gains that much life from that creature. That I don't think that's good enough. I'd rather get the land than the life, I think. So yeah, I'm in favor of Path to Exile.
So you're in favor of Path to Exile, but not other very powerful forms of 1-drop removal?
Yeah, I don't think Lightning Bolt should be in the, because I mean Burn's already crazy. They already have so many Lightning Bolts with Wizards Lightning and the other like the Carnival one. What's it called?
Spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Spectacle one.
That's a sorcery though. Yeah.
Yeah, Skewer the Critics. Yes, it is, but it's still a 1-drop 3 bolt. So I think Red's got it already. They don't need another one. It's Christmas all year long for mono red. They don't need another one.
All right, strong opening statement there from Hoshi. Let's turn it over to Drunken Dork. How do you feel about the premium 1-drop removal, and should they be added into the Historic format?
So my opinion on 1-drop removal is, in Historic specifically, is like, personally, I think that it's too powerful, which is weird coming from me because I'm always talking about how I want to step the power level up. But like the state of Historic right now, I think it is. I agree with everything Hoshi said about Lightning Bolt. Like I think Lightning Bolt out of all of them actually would be the most powerful and definitely should not be in Historic right now. And then Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshare, I think are the same thing. I think even though with Path to Exile you get an extra land, I still think because of decks like like black white mid range style like sack decks or something, like aristocrat style decks. I think it poses a huge problem because Exile's big, like that's a lot better than just destroying something, which what Fatal Push does. And I think especially with Swords to Plowshare. Did I say Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshare?
You said
anyway,
you said they're both the same, so
yeah. So, Swords to Plowshare is even worse than Path to Exile, I think, for sure. Like saying the same thing you did, like gaining life isn't, it isn't important. That's why that card's so heavily used in every format because, like, I don't give a fuck if you gain even if you gain 10 life because that means nothing. Like, I'm usually just going to get rid of your thing because I'm about to win or because it's like a huge nuisance, or because you're about to win. So, that card, definitely doesn't belong. But the Swords to Plowshare, though, or Path to Exile, I mean, sorry. Even with the extra land, I do think right now, because of like how good mid-range is, I think it would step mid-range up, and aggro is already a fucking problem. So I think like the benefits that it would give to something like control would be offset because the benefits that it would also give to aggro and mid-range would actually be better, like oddly.
Interesting. Hoshi, do you have a rebuttal to that?
I don't think it would be good for aggro because aggro just wants to kill you, right? They just want to smash face. So them like ramping a mid-range deck or a control deck is like super bad for them to do with Path of Exile. So I don't think that would be something that aggro would want to play. But mid-range definitely, like you were saying, mid-range would be huge for them. And I think there's a lot of type of white decks that would really benefit from it. Like we were saying, that like white removal is just pretty terrible in general right now, unless you're playing Elspeth Conquers Death, which is the only real good white removal that I can think of that they have. And that's a 5-drop, so that's a pretty hefty removal card. You're pretty much dead to aggro in Historic by then, unless you've been doing some heavy control and getting lucky at that point. So I mean, I don't like Teferi and I don't like control and all that stuff, but I do agree that I think that Path to Exile should actually be in there. Yeah.
Do you have any response to that, Drunken?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do think that like I do play a lot of aggro, and like even though aggro is mostly creatures, it is common to run some removal in your aggro depending on the meta, right? Like in mono black aggro, you do run removal because like unfortunately there are like aggro strategies, like so say like mono white aggro, their win condition is like just gaining, they're trying to go over the top, right? Like by gaining a bunch of life and not allowing other aggro decks to like beat them down first. So like they do bad against like mid-range decks, and so like having at least one bit of like removal in a mono white aggro deck, I think would totally push that deck to an even better level. Like having that single white mana removal in there, even if you give your opponent a land, like would totally help in that deck, like it significantly.
Yeah, it would help for sure, but I don't think it'd be like meta destroying, like what their fear would be. I don't think it would destroy the meta.
Maybe.
So okay, so let me then go ahead and lead that into my next question. You don't think then that, Hoshi, that this would speed up Historic and then maybe in turn drastically change the Historic meta by adding very powerful removal? Multiple decks can utilize this. So do you think then that this would drastically shift the meta of Historic in a positive or negative way?
So
if at all,
because this, Well, I don't think so. I think it would keep it at the same level, and there's two reasons for that. This isn't burn removal, right? Like lightning strike would definitely increase the speed of killing somebody, but Path to Exile just gets rid of a creature. It doesn't deal any damage to them, and then it ramps them, so it has a negative effect to it as well, allowing them to come back. So you might be able to get your creatures in there for a kill. Yeah, so they might be able to speed up their kills a little bit in like a white aggro strategy, but in the other strategies, I think it'll just slow it down more, right? That's what removal does, is it slows the game down, especially in mid-range decks, right? And mid-range is the one that's really going to benefit from this. So I don't think it's going to push it into like turn 3 or 4 kills. I think it's going to keep it kind of at the same level. It's just we'll see other strategies kind of come out of this.
Drunken, what is your rebuttal to this? Do you feel like this would drastically change the format of Historic by adding in premium 1-drop removal?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think it could potentially, though. Yeah, I mean, especially if it was all 3 of those, yeah, I think it would potentially change, like significantly change to the format.
Yeah.
You know, and especially if white had access to 2 single white mana removal.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
I do think, though, that it does speed up games. Yeah, I just actually disagree with what Hoshi was saying, that, like, you know, sometimes you need removal to speed up the game. Like, you have, like, say, a fucking Uro there that is like slowing you down, you know, because Uro is a 3-drop and then a 4-drop, right? After he comes out the second time, unless you cheat him out. And yeah, like sometimes you just need that removal, and like, and then potentially that like, you know, especially Exile, which would work, you know, really good with Uro, right?
Great
because
against Uro, yeah.
Yeah, because then they couldn't bring it back. Would just potentially help that that white aggro deck even more, though, you know, like so I do think that, yeah, sometimes it slows the game down. It just depends on the deck you're playing, right? Like if you are playing an aggro deck with removal, then it can help you out, you know. It can be a dead card in your deck, but it can also potentially like really help you out. And then if you're playing mid-range, it can actually speed your deck up like that. Like, that's the thing about mid-range, is it's not always consistent, right? It's mid-range. It's like, it's the deck is either like, it's basically working off of like what you're playing against. Like, it can be a very aggressive mid-range deck, or it can be like a slow, grindy mid-range deck. And like, it really depends on what you're playing against. And so if you're using these 1-drop or 1-mana removals against an aggro deck, like, yeah, it could help you potentially like speed your game plan up.
All right, so Hoshi, flipping it back to you, do you feel that on the flip side, would this help out opponents that you're going against? Giving them access to the same card, would this also hinder what you're trying to do?
I mean, yeah, in certain cases, of course, right? If I'm playing a creature-based strategy and they have that early removal against me, it's going to slow me down to the point where they can establish control, right? That's the whole point of these, like this guy, Aqua Dementia, he's a control player and he's getting murdered by aggro decks, right? He's not able to establish control because he is missing premium 1-drop removal in whatever he's playing, which is, you know, maybe it's Azorius or something, right? Azorius really suffers early on from that 1-drop removal, and if they don't get that board wipe, they're dead most of the time, right? So I think it would be good for, you know, an opponent, somebody that I'm playing against, if they have that, especially for control. I think this would be pretty huge for them.
Drunken, you play both best of 1 and best of 3, or have experience heavily in best of 3 as well. Do you think this is only affecting one or the other, or both in the Historic format?
So I do think that it would affect both. I think it would affect best of 3, 100%. I think it would affect them, or that group of players, more significantly, because the fact that you would have that as a sideboard option for an aggro deck is like devastating. Like, that is super devastating. As a mid-range deck, devastating. Like, 1 mana removal is so powerful. That's why they have stipulations to 1 mana removal now. That's why Blood Chief... What is the black...
Blood Chief's Thirst.
Yeah, Blood Chief's Thirst and like Fatal Push, like they have stipulations, right? It's, I mean, sure, Swords to Plowshares does and Path to Exile, but like for one, it exiles, and for another, like it just gets rid of any creature, right? Like whereas Blood Chief and Fatal, like they get rid of creatures that are power 2 or less, and I think.
Well, then they have a clause that lets them get rid of other things. Like Blood Chief's Thirst can also be used to get rid of planeswalkers and any creature if you pump more mana into it.
Yeah.
So in a way, Blood Chief's Thirst is actually better.
Well,
because you can also attack planeswalkers with it.
But it's also a sorcery, which is huge. And like as a control player or any type of player, like going from instant to sorcery just really like devastates what you're trying to do, I think, especially control. Like control, you want instant base removal almost always.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into final thoughts here. Hoshi, final selling points, closing arguments about premium 1-drop removal, in your case, Path to Exile in the historic format.
I just think it's a strong format already, and like you guys have been complaining about control not being there, right? Control being a very weak strategy kind of in historic in comparison to aggro, right? Especially in best of one. You don't see that much control, and if you do, I mean, it just gets its face stomped in pretty easily. So I think this is one way, without giving them Teferi Time Raveler, which is a disgusting broken card, without giving them that to be able to regain, some power. Giving them a 1-drop premium removal would do that, and it has a hefty downside to it, by ramping your opponent and thinning their deck, right? So I think if we're giving Fatal Push into the into the format, why not Path to Exile, right? They're pretty much on the same level of power, so why not one over the other? Is it because we don't like white? Are we being racist towards white? Yeah, maybe.
No.
Oh, Hoshi.
What's with all the white hate, huh?
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's that. I just don't get it. Like I don't see why that one is stronger than Fatal Push, which is arguably a way more played card than Path to Exile is, right? So I don't know. I think it just, and not only that, it is also an uncommon card. So it's not hard to craft, right? It's a cheap card that people can add to their decks to make their decks a little bit more competitive without having to burn rare cards. So, I say, why not? Try it out, right? If it's not good, then we can just ban it. Right? It's not like you would be losing rares. You would just be losing uncommons. Who cares?
Final closing statements on premium 1-drop removal. Should they, or why they shouldn't be added into historic? Your closing thoughts, Drunken.
So I absolutely do want them in historic. Like, don't get me wrong, this is bad for my argument, but I just want the rest of historic to step up to that level. And at this point in historic, I don't think it's at the level for 1-drop removal like that. That's not as that's not as like I don't know, detrimental to like what it does, like I said before, Blood Chief and Fatal Push, they have clauses there that like really they don't allow them to do as much, whereas like Swords to Plowshare, Lightning Bolt, and what's the other one? Path to Exile. Yeah, like those cards are just like super powerful, and like I do want control to be better, but I don't think that those cards will definitely just make control better. I think they will make other strategies also better that are already good. So I really do think like the historic as a whole has to become a little bit more powerful before something like this can be introduced.
Interesting. So this one's pretty controversial because both Drunken and Hoshi have made some extremely valid points. While I am on the fence of I want Historic to be a more powerful format, a more fair format, a more even format, and I do agree in the sense that there is a lot of one-drop removal. I guess you can consider being pretty premium in the sense of like Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, Legion's End. Those are very, very powerful in black. We have, Pact of Negation, but that has a secondary clause to it. However, I also agree with Drunken when he says that Wizards needs to be very careful with what they add, because if they add too much too quickly without other defining cards, then yeah, sure, it might help one deck, might help a few decks, but it might make a deck that's already really powerful go over the top. And then when that happens, the meta has to shift drastically, and then the format becomes an extremely fast format. We have seen this happen with Modern. We've seen it especially in Legacy and Vintage, where it is all about playing the most powerful 1 to 2 drops, because you need to get that turn 2 to turn 4 win. And then obviously there's other decks that try to slow them down and try to play fair Magic by using cheating strategies with a paradox, like stuff like Living End and stuff. But I don't know if Historic is there or not. Something that comes to mind is Aetherworks Marvel. Getting turn 4 Ulamog. Extremely powerful. It's pretty stupid powerful. But we don't know yet if that's defining. We don't know if that's going to be like a tier 1 deck that destroys everything. We don't know, because right now what we do have, we have artifact removal. We do. We have Reclamation Sage, we have Cinder Vines, we have a Braid. We have already very strong artifact removal. So if someone's playing Teamer Marvels, then people are going to start sighting in, or I don't know Best of 1 at all. But I don't know how Best of 1 would work in like a Gruul or Mardu strategy using green or red. But there is removal. Giving a more powerful deck playing Bant or Esper or, something else utilizing white, giving them access to Path of Exile, it makes them even more stronger, which I think could be a very slippery slope if there isn't other cards to destroy those already oppressive tier 1 decks. So this week I am going to give it to Drunken Dork.
Woo! 2 in a row. This is look, Hoshi, you've been on your fucking you've been on your pedestal for a while. I gotta stand on mine for a little bit.
I agreed with most of the things.
Yeah, I agreed with a lot what you were saying too. Yeah,
I agree with what both of you guys are saying. And I think if they were to do it, I think it should have been like part of the what's it called, the exclusives from Kaladesh, that they should have just added Path to Exile and then see if it's like ban worthy. But unfortunately, I run Path to Exile, Swords of Plowshare. I run it all in wherever it's legal in my modern decks or whatever, Legacy and Commander. I run the hell out of that shit. It's a powerful card. The only thing I'm worried about is that Bant or something else utilizing white would just go over the top, and it would just be too strong. And then other strategies that have kind of been flourishing are now dead, and you have to build new deck ideas to defeat, because that's just how it works. Like, if someone's too oppressive, you have to make a deck that beats that deck, and then the meta will define after that. And I don't know for sure, right? Like, no one does.
It's a 1-for-1 though, right? It's like, you kill my card, right? You lost a card, and then I got a card too. Right, so I didn't really lose anything. If anything, Path to Exile is a net loss for the person that uses it, because they discard a card, right? And then the other person technically doesn't lose any cards, because they exile one thing, but then I get a land back. So as far as like cards on the board go, Path to Exile is not a net loss at all. It's actually a net loss to the person casting it.
I highly disagree with that.
I disagree.
Like, I don't care. Well. I don't care if an opponent gets a land. If I'm playing mid range or control, I don't care if you get land. I don't care.
Yeah.
And all that
just
matters is like you're casting your big thing. Like, yeah, I got Path to Exile too. Whenever you cast that Ulamog, you know, I got it. I'm like, all right, well, you're never going to resolve anything though, because I have Path to Exile too. So you're like 4-drop creature, you're questing beast, like it's all gone.
Yeah, but I'm saying from a logical number standpoint, cards, right?
It's a 1-for-1. You are correct. Yeah, it is a 1-for-1.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why you're disagreeing with that because, I mean,
well, you're saying it's like a net loss, and I don't consider it a net loss.
Well, no, it is logically, in numbers terms, right? That person they're discarding the card for Path to Exile, right? And I still have the same amount of cards on the board, so they lose a card. I still have the same amount of cards. That's what I was saying. Logically, it's a net loss for the person casting Path to Exile.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean,
yes,
obviously, a creature is better than a land, but still, you know.
So, shit, maybe we should have combated. No, so that is our combat step. What'd you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Do you agree? Should they have premium 1-drop removal into historic? And if so, which one? Do you agree with Hoshi and the Path to Exile? Should they add them all? Should Lightning Bolt be in there? No, it shouldn't.
No.
But you know,
I think we all agree on that. No.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah. And if you're digging everything so far, you know, give us a subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, we really appreciate you guys. And, you know, make sure you click that bell notification so that way you're updated on all of our future episodes. So after our combat is always followed by our main phase 2, which is the horseshit card game. And I'm going to turn it over to Drunken Dork, and we're going to play.
All right, everybody. So I am going to go on the theme that we are going on with, like, these exciting talks about Path to Exile, Swords of Plowshare, Lightning Bolt. Okay. I'm going to cascade into our second main phase with the horseshit card game, which is where I name 4 cards, and I do it on a thematic level generally, and I'm going to keep it on that. And my theme, because I said all that shit right there, was I'm going with instants and sorceries this week. All right. Ooh. Let's see what you spell slingers know. So what I do with the horseshit card game is I name 4 cards, and one of these cards is fake, and these drunken idiots have to figure out which one of these which one of these cards is fake. So here we go. I'm going to start off. I'm going to go with Dream Salvage. It is a hybrid blue-black, so just 1 mana, all right? It is an instant from Shadowmoor at uncommon, and it says, draw cards equal to the number of cards target opponent discarded this turn. Pretty fucking sweet card right there, all right?
Commander's
maybe.
All right, the next one. Icy Veins. It is 1 blue-red, and it's an instant from Guild Pact at rare. It says, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Then Icy Veins deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand. Pretty good, right? Wow. These are both pretty good cards so far. All right, and then we have Grim Contest. It is 1 black-green. Is an instant from Fate Reforge at common. Choose target creature you control and target creature an opponent controls. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to its toughness to the other. All right, you still with me here?
No,
So these, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're all guilds. All right, so I not only did I do instants and sorceries, but I also did guilds. Actually, they're all instants. Our final one, Spontaneous Combustion, 1 black-red. Instant from Tempest at uncommon. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. Spontaneous Combustion deals 3 damage to each creature. So there are the 4 cards, boys. I don't remember who went first last week, so I will go with Hoshi. What do you got? What do you got for me, Hoshi?
What was the Golgari one again?
Golgari. It is Grim Contest. It is an instant from Fate Reforged at common. Choose target creature you control and target creature and opponent controls. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to its toughness to the other.
Huh. So toughness fight, huh?
Toughness fight.
Interesting. Man. I'll go with that one.
That one. All right. Grim Contest for Hoshi.
What was the second one that you said?
Icy Veins.
Okay,
I
never
hate
mind.
that name.
I remember that one.
It's so gross.
All right. Icy Veins sounds very, very true to what Izzet's trying to do. I'm a little on the fence about the Golgari one. I just don't think Golgari is trying to do toughness stuff. But I'm always wrong. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna agree with. I'm gonna agree with Hoshi on this one. I'm gonna go with the Golgari one as well.
Grim Contest for Hoshi and Apollo.
Oh no!
Well,
not spreading it out.
Well, fellows, you are 100% wrong.
Yeah.
So the card this week is Icy Veins, actually. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Damn it.
Yeah, I made that card up.
That makes sense. I forgot that is your favorite stripper's name, so that does make sense.
Icy Veins, yeah, absolutely.
Use cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice all love.
I hate that name. That sounds so gross.
Yeah, I thought it sounded good, right? Like icy and veins, like blue and red, like blood and ice, and I don't know. Seemed good.
I just think, I keep thinking of like old people's like veins in their legs and stuff. Oh, that's gross.
Yeah. But anyway, good job, this guy. It's all right. You guys will get one. I mean, you got one last week, right, Hoshi? Apollo, you're done, dude. You're never gonna get one again.
No, I was on
Terrible.
like a 2-win streak when Hoshi like missed episodes, and and I was like feeling good about my life. I was like, I'm making the right decisions in my life. I'm feeling good. I'm winning the horseshit card game, and then now it's just once again, Dear Diary, I lost again. I can't do anything right. Oh, goodness. That is the horseshit card game. What'd you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Did you guess right? Did you guess it was the Icy Veins? Are you disgusted as much Hoshi was?
Yeah, gross.
Are you guys sick of me losing? Maybe we should do a stream and I can do like my own little comments. You guys can like, hey, Apollo, I'll help you out, little cheater there.
No cheating.
So that is our main phase 2, and after our main phase 2 is always our end step, and that's just other shit that we've been doing this week. So I'm going to turn it over to my icy vein brother Hoshi.
Man.
What other shit you been doing this week?
Well, it was Veterans Day this week, so I got the day off. That was nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Happy Veterans
thanks.
Day.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was nice. I stayed home for the most part. I went out and got like a free sandwich from like Sony's, and I was working on some After Effects class and stuff. And then I'm supposed to close on my house tomorrow for like the 5th time that I'm supposed to close on it. I was supposed to close earlier this week actually, but there was the 100th hurricane that has spawned this year was like heading towards Florida again. So they shut down all the insurance offices. So like after my insurance policy like ran out before because we didn't close, they were like, okay, you can do it. We can close tomorrow. I was like, sweet. So I called the insurance and they're like, no, there's a hurricane coming. We can't give you insurance right now. I was like, are you kidding me? So it's been a nightmare. So yeah, tomorrow should be good.
What a paradox. Something you need insurance for, and they don't want to give you insurance.
Right?
Yeah, insurance is a scam.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
about
right.
it for me.
Drunken, what have you been doing this week?
So this week I've been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering. Got an Xbox, the Xbox Series X. Like their names are so fucking awful and confusing. But yeah, I got one of those. It hasn't come in yet in the mail. Try getting a PlayStation 5, but that was just fucking impossible. And I beat the original Last of Us, and that game is so good. My God, I can't speak higher of that game. Like, I beat it and I was like, man, this was amazing. So then I beat the DLC, and then immediately after I beat the DLC, I did this all like in one night. And then immediately after that, I bought the second game and I started playing that. And it's just like, I was playing the original game from the PS3. All right, so this is 2 fucking generations old. I was like, man, these graphics are still good though. And then I bought the new one, and which just came out like in June or something like that, and the graphics are insane. Like, the facial animations are so crazy, and like it's like real people, and the conversations, like, which is why I like the first one so much, are very real. Like, they're very, like, they're written really well. And I can't speak higher of the game. I think the story's great. The gameplay is like not for me at all. I still play on baby mode for sure because I'm a big fat baby. But yeah, good game. Besides that, like, the story is like unmatched, I think. I mean, like, the story might be better than Mass Effect. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, I take that back. It's definitely not.
They're remastering Mass Effect, by the way.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, me too.
I don't know if I'm ready to open that one up. Mass Effect broke my heart, man.
100% ready. Yeah.
I mean, I loved Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 98% of 3. You know, it's the ending that really did it for me. As for me, I've been kind of just hanging out with my parents. They live like about 35, 40 miles away, and I went to go hang out with them for the week. Did some hiking with my father. They have like a really cool, it's called like White Tank Mountains, and you pay like $7, and it's like super trails. Like, I mean, something like 20 to 30 miles worth of trails and stuff like that, so it's very Arizona desert, a lot of like the saguaro, like cacti and stuff like that. Really cool.
You
scenery wise, huh?
Well,
it's like a national park.
Oh,
it's like a
you
national
like paid a park or something?
You gotta pay to get in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is really which I do like. Me and my father were actually going to put in and get like an annual pass or whatever, because it's like pretty secluded, you know what I mean? And I mean, I'm just one of those people. I don't like it when like a million people are there on hikes.
What are you,
you know what I mean?
doing out there, huh? What are you up to when you're in your seclusion, huh? You're paying extra money to
suffering. It's hot in Arizona, dude. It's hot, and there's like a sun beating on you, and you're like, But no, I took my dog Rocco out there, and it's a blast. I love hiking. I love the scenery out there, and it's secluded because like when I used to live in Los Angeles, I hated hiking in like Runyon Trail and stuff, and there's like a million people doing selfies and
hashtag living.
But that's
wildlife.
Pretty much, hashtag, healthy. Like, oh goodness. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing this week. I would love to be able to get an Xbox and or PlayStation. I'm more leaning on the PlayStation side. But something that I did saw that was funny, that Microsoft actually had to tweet it. I don't know if you guys saw this.
I saw this, yeah.
Okay, so people have been like, notice that there's an exhaust fan on the Microsoft. It's a fucking like tower computer, right? Okay, so people have been like vaping and blowing into like the input fan, and it like looks like it's smoke on top, but like it's vapor. So there's still water droplets in it, which is anyone into electronics knows
it's still not good. Yeah.
So Microsoft was like, I can't believe we have to say this. Please don't vape inside your Xbox.
Yeah, pretty good. I saw that today. If you're watching this and you're doing that,
stop.
Please stop.
Don't do that. Yeah,
stop. You have it's electronics 101. Water and electronics don't do so well.
No,
oh man,
you're gonna fry your brand new Xbox.
Oh man, I love that people saw that clip and they were like, "Oh, that's a great idea."
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Is there like a subreddit for these morons? Like at the Tide Pod Reddit? Like these people are like, I just like down 5 Tide Pods and I'm gonna blow vape into my new
I'm
Xbox.
gonna vape my Xbox,
bro. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, there's gotta be.
Tell me more about these Tide Pods. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no,
I'm kidding.
they're delicious.
They're
They're
yummy.
delicious
Yeah, I'm
looking.
gonna go try one
They're
right
yummy
after
for
the
your
pod.
tummy, dude.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll see. I'll
They
be the
look
judge
like
of that.
candy.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I don't know what state of mind you have to be like, it looks like a Willy Wonka candy. I'm gonna eat it. Like,
No.
no, it's laundry detergent. I don't know. So that is our end step, and always followed by our end step is our cleanup and our discard. Cleanup is just social media promo. Discard is whatever we finish whatever we're drinking. So you can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at the Manadorks. Also on YouTube at the Manadorks. If you're having problems searching for us, we're going to try to fix it through our directories. But the Mana Rant is something that we're going to go on from this point forward. Also, you can follow us into our individual Instagrams at Hoshi at Super Houston, myself at Michael Butler Bro, BROH, and Drunken Dork at Drunken Dork. So there you have it. That is our episode. Hope you all enjoy. Here is our discard, where we just pound it all up. Boys,
All right.
cheers.
Yeah. Let's do this, guys.
And we'll see you all next time. Take care, y'all.